Michael Saylor literally laughed in the face of someone asking him questions on live TV. I want to play that for you. Show what Michael Saylor said, and look at back in 2020, what people were saying about Bitcoin, how right Saylor was. Let's go through this. If you don't mind, hit subscribe so you can see future videos just like this. Also, if you want to trade crypto, there are a few links underneath the video. You can start trading over on Bydfi. You can actually trade Bitcoin with Bitcoin. They have CoinW, so you can actually get paid profits in Bitcoin, which is awesome. You can do that with altcoins as well. And they have some special bonuses going on right now. Also, people have absolutely been loving BitUniX and BTCC as well. There are links to those underneath the video. Let's start here.
Turning now to the crypto world, because there's a notion there that Bitcoin is a hedge against the swings in traditional assets, but that seems to be breaking down. Bringing up a chart here just to show you the volatility over the last couple of months here. Gold has held stable, but Bitcoin has swung quite wildly around it, though the returns are similar in the past month. We're going to talk more about this, the rationale, all of it, with Michael Saylor, co-founder and executive chairman of MicroStrategy, the largest public corporate holder of Bitcoin. And Michael, first I want to ask you, in the last couple of days, you did see for a moment there Bitcoin fall below that $50,000 level. I do understand that MicroStrategy acquired an additional 169 Bitcoin for just over $11 million in July. But when you see that...
So this is less than a year ago. But look how much things have changed. It's absolutely insane. He's literally laughing at the host in this.
Dip below 50,000. Do you dive right in, and to what degree?
You know, we're always buying Bitcoin quarter by quarter by quarter. It's a long-term strategy. But the most important point for people to understand is that Bitcoin volatility is a feature. It's not a bug. The volatility creates tens of billions of dollars of credit and liquidity at all times, everywhere, to everyone in the world in the short term. But over the long term, that volatility is driving superior asset performance and durability. So it's volatile because it's functional. The other markets are all closed and they're crippled by the physics and the politics of the asset.
Isn't it a problem when a store of value, if someone wants to use Bitcoin as a store of value, can lose 10 or 20% over a couple of trading sessions?
The reason it moves is because it's functional. It's digital capital, and it's superior to physical capital or financial capital. Bitcoin's a capital investment you can hold for decades that a corporation, competitor, counterparty, or country can't take away from you. So it'll create generational wealth for your family, your corporation, or your country. You can liquidate it at any amount, anytime, anywhere in the world, or you can hold it for any amount of time without active management or business acumen.
Now, the reason that it fell so much at this time, if I remember right, was because this is days after Germany just one-clipped. They just sold a ton of Bitcoin at one time on the open market. Of course, there was the yen carry trade worries at the same time, so he's saying, yeah, if someone decides to go sell it, it's liquid. You can sell it, but the price is going to fall down. Also, anyone that freaked out when this happened lost about 100% gain to where we are at today's prices. Keep in mind, no one really cares today. No one feels excited. This is less than a year ago, and we've gone up almost 100%. It's just crazy, and let's keep going here.
So yeah, it's volatile, but it's so superior to every other option that you have for long-term capital management that I actually think the world is just waking up to discover this virtue.
Michael, I still feel the need to really understand the psychology of these pullbacks, because at some point it still matters the price you buy into Bitcoin at. How much are you willing to put to work when you see those dips? What types of dips do you look for when you put more money to work in it?
You know, we look at Bitcoin as cyber Manhattan, so there's never a bad time to buy up scarce, desirable real estate in the greatest city in North America. There's never a bad time to buy Bitcoin. So we will just generally acquire it, whenever we have cash, whenever we can raise money in the capital markets. whenever we see the opportunity. I think timing the market is almost impossible for the mere mortal. It's time in the market that matters.
Another question I have for you too is, even beyond MicroStrategy, how do you hold Bitcoin personally? Do you have a significant personal stack in addition to what you own through MicroStrategy and a MicroStrategy stock?
Okay, I'm going to keep this going in the background because there's something pretty interesting coming up when he laughs. But keep in mind, they have acquired a ton of Bitcoin since this was completed, like last year. Or since this video started, last year, towards the end of the year, they bought hundreds of thousands of Bitcoin, just like in the last quarter, honestly. They acquired 136% year to date back in 2024. So throughout the year, they more than doubled their stack. This year, they're on pace to do about 40%. And I created a little chart here to show you how much Bitcoin they can get their hands on. But yeah, we'll go through that in a second.
Journalist Andrew Chow, he's written a book called Cryptomania, Hype, Hope, and the Fall of FTX's billion-dollar fintech empire. He seems more convinced by Ethereum and the proof of stake method because he's so concerned about the climate and the environment. And a lot of younger people see it this way, that proof of work just takes too much power and is bad for the world. How do you respond to those concerns?
There are hundreds of thousands of investments that people can make, and I don't opine on any particular real estate, equity, or crypto investment. Bitcoin is special because it is literally the most powerful computer network in the world. It's the most powerful. It's got the most electrical power. It's got the most computer power. It's got the most economic power. It's got the most political power. The fact that it runs on 17 gigawatts or more of electricity means it's got more power than the United States Navy. That makes it nation-state resistant and nuclear hardened. So my view is, if you're going to put away billions of dollars for decades, you're going to want a very powerful crypto network to defend it.
Now, Bitcoin dominance has gone up 8% since then. Actually, it's gone up from 57% to 65%. So it's really gone up over 10%. When you look at 57 to 65. And Ethereum has done nothing. This is basically the price of Ethereum today, and Bitcoin's almost double the price.
And there really is no second best.
But it sounds like that much power generation is going to lead to, a higher global temperature, melting ice caps and rising seas. Like, when can it get carbon neutral?
He's being serious here. Michael, I think, either is just straight up laughing at his face, or he thinks he's joking, like he thinks he's cracking a joke. But this is not the face of a joking person, so let's see how he responds.
That's a silly observation. People have been saying that for 5 years. Bitcoin's not boiling the ocean. It's like 10, 15 basis points of the world's energy usage. So it's de minimis compared to everything else. 30% of the energy in the world is wasted from some other source. So it's just guerrilla marketing, and I think largely irrelevant and debunked at this point in time.
And this can also help bring energy to places like people that need energy, but there's maybe not enough of a demand to make it worthwhile for energy companies. The Bitcoin companies can be the first buyer there and be able to bring prosperity to a lot of regions. Now, I thought that was just really funny. And it's funny to see how much things have changed. I mean, today we literally have the president with a Bitcoin mining company, with a Bitcoin ETF company, with, there's some other Bitcoin related company he has too. And then he has a bunch of crypto companies. So it's fascinating to see, it's just fascinating to see how things have changed over time. I mean, there's no discussion over Bitcoin being bad for the environment anymore. That's not on anyone's minds. It's also interesting to see how right on Saylor has been throughout this whole time. I mean, there's this interview too where Bitcoin was even much lower yet. We'll look at it in a second, but things have changed a lot. And I think it's important to look back at moments like this, because this wasn't all that long ago, less than a year, actually like 10 months ago. And yet everything has changed from a regulatory standpoint, from a risk standpoint. And it's crazy to think about how much Bitcoin MicroStrategy can buy. I said earlier they have 136% yield in 2024, somewhere around there. That might not be the exact number, but it's within a percent. Then 2025, they're on pace for 40%. Let's say that decreases by 25% every year. So in 2030, they're increasing by 10%. And of course, I don't know what they're going to do in the future, but let's just say it continues to go down. So 10 years from now, they're only acquiring 2% more a year, partly because the price has just gone up significantly. Or there's less volatility, so they can't raise money quite as easily. This would allow them to get well over 1 million Bitcoin. Again, I don't even know if this is going to happen, because I think this would send the price up of Bitcoin very quickly. And you add on the ETFs, you add on all the other treasury companies. But I mean, let's say Michael Saylor's right and Bitcoin's price goes up 30% a year for the next 10 years. It looks crazy by the end, 10 years from now, $1.7 million Bitcoin. But, I mean, that means in 4 years from now, we're sitting at a $270,000 Bitcoin. We're at 110 now. Even people that aren't extremely bullish on Bitcoin, I think, realize that that's not a crazy price. Like, it's a little bit more than a 2x now. We're going to print money. We're going to lower rates. So $270,000 Bitcoin, I don't think is out of the question. Then you just continue adding 30% a year. Maybe people think it's going to be diminished, but Michael Saylor says 30% a year for the next 20 years. That gets them to $3 trillion of Bitcoin. That's crazy. And again, I'm not sure that's going to happen, but it doesn't matter if that's what they get to. There are going to be treasury companies. There's going to be ETFs. There's going to be pensions are buying this. Countries are going to be buying this. So it's just crazy how much Bitcoin is being bought up and will be bought up by companies like this that weren't even big, right? I mean, compared to S&P 500 companies, Michael Saylor's company was small. Even during the bear market, it was well below $2 billion. Now it's $100 billion. Think about how much Bitcoin can be bought up by a larger company. Let's play this too. This is really interesting.
It's looking much better by the month. Bitcoin's the world's first engineered safe haven asset, and it's running on the world's first digital monetary network. I mean, everybody in the world, every institutional investor is looking for a safe haven, and they're all losing faith in gold, and they're losing faith in sovereign debt as a safe haven. So Bitcoin is sitting at the right place at the right time. It's very appealing to anybody that wants to preserve shareholder wealth.
Hi, Michael. Rahel Solomon here. Question. So you say it's becoming less volatile, and yet I wonder, do you think that Bitcoin still has a credibility issue? And if so, how do we move past that? Or investors such as yourself move past that?
If you'd asked me about Bitcoin in February, I would have said, "Bit what?" In March, everything changed. And since March, we've had Paul Tudor Jones and Stanley Druckenmiller, and we've had Bill Miller, and we've had Rick Reeder, and we've had Guggenheim, and we've had Skybridge, we've had MicroStrategy, we've had Square. We've got an avalanche of billion-dollar entities coming into this space, and they're not here to speculate on leverage with an uncorrelated asset. They're here because they want the world's best safe haven investment-grade treasury reserve asset. So as the institutions buy Bitcoin, its volatility changes and the characteristics of the asset class are maturing.
Now, this is when Bitcoin was $23,000 5 years ago. Now, it's been below that since then. To be clear, back in the bear market of 2022, it went below this, and Michael Saylor was still buying some Bitcoin during that time. But it's fascinating to hear him speak from almost 5 years ago, because he's talked about the maturity of the asset class. I mean, back during the Trump tariff scare in April, Bitcoin fell less than some of the largest, most profitable tech companies in the world. I believe it was Amazon and Google, Nvidia, Tesla, all fell more than Bitcoin. People think about Bitcoin as so risky, yet it has less volatility sometimes than these companies. And these are companies making tens of billions of dollars a quarter in profits. So Bitcoin is maturing. No matter what anyone says, it's maturing. There's the largest asset managers in the world are constantly talking about Bitcoin. We have 100 different companies that are buying Bitcoin consistently. We have so many pensions and investment advisors that are reviewing Bitcoin and still haven't even approved of pushing it trying to buy it. The compliance departments haven't had enough time to look at it. Times are changing. It's going to be fascinating to see where we are in, 6 months, let alone 5 years. Look back at Michael Saylor a decade after he spoke about Bitcoin for one of the first times, and he does seem like a genius right now, 5 years later. So let me know your thoughts on all this underneath the video. If you are bullish on Bitcoin, we obviously are in a bit of a downtrend, right? We just hit this same resistance that we hit back in early June or mid-June. There's going to be a time where we break out, retest, and then fly up. If you're bullish, if you want to go low leverage and put a long position in, you can check out Bydfi or BITUNIX, or if you want to short too and play the short-term game and then try to turn those profits back long when we reverse, you can check out those links underneath the video. Of course, do your own research. The majority of my bag is in spot Bitcoin, but yeah, I do like to trade if I want to get a little bit more risk on. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. We'll see y'all soon. Bye.